My name is Emily Carter. My mom skipped my high school graduation to grill steaks for my brother, then later used my name to take out loans I never agreed to. I didn't scream or confront her. I let the system speak for me. If something similar happened to you, share your story in the comments. The line moved forward one step at a time, caps bumping shoulders, gowns brushing legs. My phone buzzed while we waited. A single message from my mom, Linda. Your brother's doing a barbecue. I won't make it. You understand. No apology, no follow-up. Just that. When my name was called, I looked up anyway. The family section was easy to spot because nothing moved there. Other parents stood, waved, leaned into the aisle with phones raised. My row stayed empty. Cheers rolled in from somewhere else, loud and generous, meant for someone whose people had shown up. The principal shook my hand. The diploma cover felt lighter than I expected. A staff photographer stepped back, adjusted, clicked, following the same routine for everyone. No one stepped into frame with me. The next name was called before I had fully cleared the stage. Off to the side, we were guided into another line to wait for group photos. The announcer's voice came over the speakers, practiced and upbeat. We'd like to thank the parents and guardians for supporting our graduates today. People laughed softly. A few clapped. I shifted forward with the rest, holding my cap under one arm, listening to shoes scrape the floor. While waiting, my phone came out again. Social media refreshed on its own. There it was, my mom, smiling next to my brother, a grill behind them, smoke curling up. The caption read, "Family time." Someone had commented with a row of clapping emojis. A message came in from an old neighbor. "Congrats, big day. Mom couldn't get a day off?" The screen stayed open for a moment. No reply went out. The line moved. After the photos, people peeled off toward their families. Hugs, flowers. Someone's dad lifted them clear off the ground. I walked toward the exit with the rest, diploma tucked against my side, trying not to block traffic. An email notification popped up from the school. The subject line mentioned next year's financial file. It looked wrong, longer than usual. There wasn't time to open it yet. Another buzz followed right after. This time, it was my mom calling. The call connected fast. "Hey," she said. Background noise crackled, laughter cutting in and out. "Quick thing, your SSN is still the same, right? I just need it to finish some paperwork." "For what?" The word came out before thinking about it. "College stuff," she said. "Deadlines. I'll handle it." Someone in the background shouted my brother's name. A laugh followed. The line went dead before anything else could be said. Outside, graduates clustered near the curb, waiting for rides. I stood off to the side and finally opened the email. Rows of numbers filled the screen. My name appeared next to a loan amount I didn't recognize, listed as active. The loan sat between us like a third person when I brought it up. My mom skimmed the printout without reading it, then set it face down. "Just paperwork," Linda said. "Don't make drama." Her voice carried the same tone she used with cashiers when a coupon didn't scan. Calm, certain, final. The call ended with a reminder about deadlines, as if that settled everything. Within hours, relatives started reaching out. An aunt texted that Mom was only trying to help. A cousin wrote that stress does strange things to young people. Someone suggested gratitude. "She's helping you," my uncle said on the phone. "You should be grateful." No one asked why my name was on a loan I hadn't signed. No one asked how help turned into debt overnight. The next morning, the school's financial office called. A meeting was required. The scholarship status was under review, pending clarification. Words like review and pending landed flat, delivered with the same neutrality as office hours. Work didn't pause for it. The cafe manager listened with folded arms while the schedule was adjusted again. Meetings meant missed shifts. Missed shifts meant fewer hours. The math didn't need explaining. By the end of the week, my mom had already spoken to people I hadn't. Family group chats shifted tone. Questions came wrapped as concern. "Are you sleeping?" "College is a lot." "Your mom worries." At the financial office, a woman slid a clipboard across the desk. Her badge read Rosa Martinez. She waited without filling the silence. "This isn't a dispute," she said. "It's a clarification." Pages stacked up quickly. Forms, copies, requests for explanation. When the loan came up, Rosa didn't soften her voice. "You didn't sign," she said. "Then why is your name there?" The question wasn't accusatory, it was procedural. That made it heavier. Emails were forwarded, call logs saved, screenshots labeled by date. Rosa pointed to a timestamp and tapped it once. "This request for your SSN," she said, "it lines up with the loan approval." That was it. No gasps, no speeches, just a finger on a date. Across the hall, another staff member stepped in with a practiced smile. "These things happen in families," he said. A thick packet landed on the desk with a dull sound. The smile stayed put while the explanation ran long. Policies, safeguards, next steps. The words blurred together, but the packet stayed solid. Back home, the phone kept lighting up. My mom called twice, then texted. "I fixed it. You're overthinking. Sign what they give you so we can move on." When the call finally connected, voices carried through the line. Someone laughed. A grill sizzled somewhere nearby. "You're making me look bad," Linda said. "I'm trying to protect you." Protect took on a flexible meaning. That night, an email from the school arrived, with a subject line in all caps. 14 days. If the matter wasn't resolved, the scholarship would be withdrawn. No exceptions were listed. The next meeting started early. Rosa outlined the process without drama. Participation required a signature acknowledging an internal review. Not guilt, not blame, just cooperation. The pen was placed carefully on the table, angled toward me. Pages weighted underneath, neatly aligned. In the hallway outside, parents spoke to advisors with easy familiarity. Lanyards swung, coffee cups steamed. The system moved the way it always did, confident in its rhythm. Inside the office, the clock ticked. Rosa folded her hands and waited. Rosa slid the final page closer, not touching it. Her eyes moved from the form to my face and back again, as if checking alignment. "This just opens the file," she said. "It doesn't decide anything." The wording mattered. So did who said it. The hallway noise leaked under the door, a steady reminder that other people's paperwork resolved itself all the time. My phone vibrated on the table. A text from my mom arrived, followed by another. "Call me. We need to fix this today." Outside the glass, a father laughed with his daughter, pointing at a campus map. Someone asked about parking permits. Normal questions, normal answers. Rosa cleared her throat softly and tapped the edge of the clipboard. Not rushing, not pulling back. "If you have concerns," she said, "now is when they belong in the record." The copy arrived by email late that afternoon, attached without comment. The subject line was neutral, almost polite. I opened it at the counter where the mail usually piled up, scrolling past headings until my name appeared. The signature sat there in black ink. Not mine. The loops and slant matched my mother's handwriting from every birthday card and permission slip I'd ever known. Below it, a box labeled Authorized Signer remained empty, unchecked, yet stamped Approved. In the margin, a note read, Family Assistance. Nothing about it looked rushed. Nothing looked accidental. The phone buzzed before the screen dimmed. Linda called once, then again. The third time, a text followed. "I fixed everything. They just need you to sign so we can protect the family." Another message came in, this one from my brother. "Why are you doing this to Mom?" The phrasing landed exactly where it was meant to. The call came through again, louder this time, the vibration skittering across the counter. I answered. "You saw it," she said, not waiting. "This is being blown out of proportion. Whose signature is that?" The question stayed simple. A pause stretched, then a sigh. "I did what I had to do," Linda said. "You were busy. Deadlines don't wait." The words were practiced. So was the shift in tone. "You wouldn't even have this opportunity if I hadn't put food on the table for you," she added. The rent receipt sat folded on the fridge, due date circled in red. My paycheck covered it. That was never mentioned. I'm not signing anything else, I said. Her voice tightened. Don't be stubborn, she said. This protects everyone. Protect didn't include my name on a loan. We agreed to meet. The house smelled like cleaning spray, sharp and recent. Papers were already laid out on the dining table, corners squared. She pointed to the chair across from her. I talked to them, Linda said. They just need your confirmation. The page slid closer. My name was printed neatly at the bottom, a line waiting underneath. This isn't confirmation, I said. It's responsibility. She leaned back, eyes filling at the right moment. After everything I've done, she said, you'd do this to me? The words carried weight because they'd been used before. A tissue appeared. She dabbed once, carefully. You don't understand how hard it's been, she continued. Your brother needed help. I couldn't let him fail. The logic left no room for me. That part stayed consistent. I won't sign, I said again. The papers stayed where they were. She gathered them slowly, stacking each page with care, as if the order mattered more than the content. You're making a mistake, Linda said. This will come back on you. Outside, the sun dropped lower. Neighbors passed by the window, heading home from work. The normal rhythm of the street didn't change. My phone vibrated again. A text from my brother lit up the screen. She's crying. Just sign it. I didn't answer. The next morning, the campus portal refused to load past the login screen. A banner replaced the dashboard, listing my account as temporarily restricted due to a dispute. No classes, no balance details, just a notice and a phone number. The financial office confirmed it without surprise. This happens when there's conflicting information, the clerk said. It's precautionary. Precaution froze everything. Work messages stacked up while I waited on hold. The cafe manager needed to know if I could still cover weekend shifts. Scheduling didn't bend around disputes. At noon, another email arrived from my mom. We can fix this today. Please stop this. The word stop landed heavier than fix. Back at the house, the dining table was cleared. Only one document remained, placed dead center. She stood behind it, arms crossed. You're being unreasonable, Linda said. I kept this family together. The phrase felt rehearsed. The paper waited untouched. I'm not signing, I said. Her expression hardened, tears gone now. Then deal with the consequences, she replied. That part wasn't a threat. It was a statement. By the time I stepped outside, a notification had already posted to the portal. Access limited. Funds unavailable. The system moved faster than conversation ever could. The notice didn't come to me first. It arrived at my mother's house in a thick envelope with the school's seal stamped cleanly on the front. I learned that later, when she mentioned it casually on the phone, as if she were reading off a grocery list. They sent a letter, Linda said. It explains everything. By the time the same notice reached my inbox, the decision had already been logged. The scholarship was withdrawn. Temporary suspension from enrollment, effective immediately. Instructions for returning student materials followed in bullet points. There was no appeal link. The reason listed was short and bloodless: unresolved financial discrepancies and concerns regarding student stability. Stability was new. I called the financial office. The woman on the line spoke carefully, choosing words the way people do when they expect arguments. We were informed by a guardian, she said. Additional context was provided. Well, I'm not a minor, I said. A pause. Keys clicked. The file lists your mother as the primary contact, she replied. That hasn't changed. That was when the email from graduation finally made sense, the one I hadn't opened right away. It wasn't about next year's aid at all. It confirmed an update to my contact information. Address changed. Phone number confirmed. Authorization attached. I hadn't submitted any of it. The system accepted it anyway. Calls followed fast after that. An aunt left a voicemail advising me to stop fighting. A cousin texted that family matters shouldn't be dragged into institutions. Even my brother weighed in again. You're stressing Mom out, he wrote. Just let it go. Let it go required signing. Signing meant owning debt that wasn't mine. That part didn't make the group chat. Rosa answered on the second ring when I called her. They closed it, I said. She exhaled once, slow. I was afraid of that, Rosa said. Once a guardian frames it as instability, the school moves to protect itself. Can we reverse it? No, she replied, but we can document everything. The word document sounded small against the loss of an entire semester. Rosa laid it out without comfort. The pattern mattered more than any single form. My mother held the paperwork. She had access to my identifiers. She controlled the narrative before I could respond. Each step leaned on the last. None of this works without consent, Rosa said. She created consent where there was silence. Silence had always been easier. Work hours disappeared the same week. Without classes, my availability shifted. The manager needed someone predictable. Rent stayed predictable. Bills did not care about disputes. When I went back to the house, my things were still in my old room, untouched but clearly sorted. Papers stacked neatly on the desk. The loan packet sat on top, clipped and labeled. My high school diploma leaned against the wall, still in its cheap frame. Linda waited in the kitchen. "You've embarrassed me," she said. "The school called." "They called you," I replied. She didn't deny it. "I told them you've been overwhelmed," Linda said. "They agreed it wasn't healthy for you to be making big decisions." The phrasing sounded familiar. It matched the language in the notice. "You went behind my back," I said. She folded her arms. "I'm your mother," she replied. "That's my job." The logic left no opening. Boxes came out of the closet. Not everything fit. Only what mattered went in. Clothes, documents. The folder Rosa told me to keep separate stayed under my arm the entire time. At the doorway, Linda spoke again. "You'll thank me later," she said. "This is for your own good." The lock clicked behind me when I left. The sound was small, final enough to register. By late afternoon, the car was full. The house looked unchanged from the street. Curtains still drawn, lights on in the living room. Nothing to suggest a separation had just happened. At a red light, my phone buzzed. An automated message from the school confirmed my withdrawal. A second followed with instructions for returning my ID. Rosa texted shortly after. "I'm sorry," she wrote. "You didn't do anything wrong." That didn't reopen anything. The apartment I found was temporary, cheap, close to work. Papers stayed stacked on the table the first night, unopened. The diploma rested beside them, glass reflecting the overhead light. Keys sat in my palm longer than needed. The folder went into my bag. The door closed behind me as I stepped back out, locking on its own. Full-time work has a way of flattening days. Shifts ran long, sometimes bleeding into each other, and the apartment became a place to sleep, shower, and open mail I didn't want to see. The first letter arrived with a windowed envelope and a polite font. The second one didn't bother with politeness. Amounts were bolded. Due dates sat close together. The loan had a rhythm now, monthly, predictable, patient. Work paid just enough to keep the lights on. Tips filled gaps when they showed up. On nights when the register closed late, envelopes waited on the counter at home, stacked neatly like they belonged there. Each one carried my name, spelled correctly, printed with confidence. That was the part that kept repeating. My name, everywhere. Calls from home stopped. Messages slowed. Silence replaced pressure, but nothing lifted. The system didn't care that I wasn't in school anymore. It didn't care why. A balance existed, so reminders followed. That's when the pattern finally settled into focus. Not all at once, not with drama. Just quietly, the way a mess becomes obvious after it's already spread. I had assumed my mother wouldn't go too far. That belief sat underneath everything. Papers left on the kitchen table. SSN, written down without hesitation. Mail sent to her address because it was easier. Silence when something felt off, labeled as patience or loyalty. None of that required bad intentions to turn dangerous. It just required access. Rosa met me after work one night, sitting across from me with her coffee untouched. She listened, without interrupting, letting the details land where they needed to. "There's a way to stop this," she said finally. "It's not comfortable." The option wasn't something I'd considered. Changing my name had always felt dramatic, something people did to disappear or make a point. Rosa talked through it without exaggeration. Fees, timelines, notifications to employers, banks, credit bureaus. It severs the paper trail, she said. She can't use what doesn't exist anymore. The word sever fit. Clean. Permanent. It won't fix the past, Rosa added, but it stops new damage. The cost wasn't just money, it was time. Records rebuilt, explaining to future employers. Standing in lines with folders under my arm, asking systems to recognize me again. And family? I asked. Rosa didn't answer right away. It closes doors, she said. Some people never forgive that. Forgiveness had stopped being the goal somewhere along the way. What mattered now was control, the ability to sign something without wondering who else could speak for me, the ability to exist on paper without supervision. The decision settled without ceremony, no announcement, no warning, just a shift in direction. Forms printed at the library came out warm from the machine. My old name appeared everywhere, repeated in boxes and lines. Each instance got crossed out with steady strokes. The new one fit where it was placed. Not symbolic, just functional. At the county clerk's website, appointment slots filled quickly. 1 3 weeks out remained. It was early. That didn't matter. Payment processed, confirmation email arrived, a checklist followed. Birth certificate, ID, proof of residency, all things I could gather without asking permission. At work, a supervisor asked about the paperwork. Legal name update, I said. She nodded and asked when payroll needed the change. No questions, no commentary. Back at the apartment, the folder grew heavier. Copies went in. Originals stayed separate. Rosa's advice echoed in practical steps. Never hand over everything at once. Keep one set off-site. Assume nothing. The mail came again. Another notice, another reminder. I stacked it with the others, unopened this time. The process was already moving. Letting the paper pile grow didn't stop anything. Late one night, the form waited on the table, signature line blank. The old name sat printed at the top, official and familiar. A pen hovered for a second before the line was crossed out completely. The new name went down in its place. Letters aligned, ink dried. The appointment date circled itself on the calendar without fanfare. 3 weeks wasn't long. It was enough. A text from Rosa came through as the folder closed. "Let me know when it's official," she wrote. "I'll help with the rest." The printer whirred again, spitting out one more copy. The stack got clipped together, squared, ready to be carried somewhere new. The bag by the door waited. Keys went in. The folder slid on top, edges flush. Before turning out the light, the confirmation email was opened one last time, reread for accuracy. County clerk, date, time, everything needed was there. The credit report loaded slower than expected, spinning long enough to feel intentional. When it finally opened, the list ran longer than a single page. Accounts, dates, amounts, some closed, some active. Patterns started forming without needing interpretation. The first loan wasn't the problem. It was the third. Each one lined up with a moment I recognized. A semester when my brother dropped out. A year he lost a job. A stretch when rent was suddenly late at my mother's house. My name appeared again and again, never as the primary beneficiary, always as support. Buffer was the only word that fit. Family assistance showed up more than once in the notes. Rosa sat across from me with her laptop open, scrolling through the same entries. She didn't say anything until the dates matched up in a way that couldn't be ignored. "This isn't a mistake," she said. "It's a system." Old details shifted shape, my mother insisting on holding on to documents, asking for my SSN every couple of years just to check. Mail getting redirected because it was easier. Each piece had made sense on its own. Together, they formed something deliberate. The complaint came 2 days later. Linda filed it herself. The notice arrived by certified mail, signature required. Identity theft. That was the term used. My name appeared as the accused, not the victim. The allegation claimed unauthorized interference with family financial accounts. The wording was careful, vague enough to raise flags without explaining anything. A follow-up email from the lender stated that certain records couldn't be released due to household authorization. Shared address, shared consent, shared responsibility. The same details that had been used to justify the loans now shielded them from scrutiny. Rosa read it twice, jaw tightening. She flipped it, she said. She's saying you're the one interfering. The lawyer came recommended through a coworker who dealt with the divorce. His office was small, functional, lined with folders that looked heavy with other people's problems. He listened without interruption, skimming documents as they were placed in front of him. This could drag, he said finally, years if she keeps pressing. What happens if it does? He didn't soften his answer. You carry the debt while it's unresolved, he said. That hits credit, jobs, housing. The word unresolved hung between us. It covered a lot. What about the complaint? I asked. It creates risk, he said, enough to make lenders nervous. The advice was clear. Either force a clean break or get buried under process. Outside the office, the phone buzzed with a new alert. A credit monitoring service flagged potential adverse reporting if the dispute continued. The language stayed neutral, as if warning about weather. Linda called that night. The number showed up without a name attached. You didn't think this through, she said when the call connected. You're making things worse. I didn't take those loans, I said. You benefited from this family, she replied. That matters. The definition kept expanding. If you keep pushing, Linda continued, this won't end well for you. The line went dead before a response formed. At work, payroll asked for clarification on pending changes. The name update sat in processing, incomplete until the legal confirmation cleared. Until then, everything existed in limbo. Another letter arrived. This one warned of potential negative reporting if the account status remained disputed beyond a certain threshold. No accusation, just consequence. Rosa met me again, this time with fewer words. She laid the papers out in order, oldest to newest. She's counting on time, Rosa said. Time wears people down. The county clerk appointment sat 3 days away. Confirmation emails waited in the inbox, unchanged. The folder stayed zipped, never far from reach. A final notice arrived the next morning. It didn't mention my mother. It didn't explain context. It stated only that continued disputes could result in long-term credit damage. No emotion, no blame, just policy. The screen refreshed while I stared at it, loading the same warning twice. The cursor hovered over the dispute status, offering options that all led to the same place. The phone vibrated again. Another call from Linda went unanswered. A voicemail followed. The notification sat there, unopened. The credit portal updated once more, the message shifting slightly, adding a line about permanent reporting if unresolved. The language stayed polite, precise, unmoved. The folder went back into my bag. The appointment time checked itself again. 3 days. Everything narrowed to that. The confirmation email arrived before the badge did. Legal name updated. Records synchronized. Payroll adjusted. Each message sounded the same, neutral and efficient, as if nothing meaningful had happened. The system didn't care why the change was needed. It only cared that the documents matched. The new job started the following Monday. Different building, different login. My old name never appeared on the schedule. HR asked once whether previous records should be merged. No, I said. Please keep them separate. They nodded and moved on. Bank accounts followed. One by one, the old profiles closed, balances transferring cleanly. New cards came in the mail with the updated name printed in raised letters. The old ones were cut down the middle and dropped into the trash. Rosa checked in without hovering. It went through, she asked. All of it, I said. Then wait, she replied. She'll test the edges. The date was easy to remember. My brother's graduation announcement had been mailed weeks earlier, heavy cardstock, gold trim. It listed the ceremony time, the reception address, and a phone number for questions. My number wasn't on it. No messages went out, no warnings. The system didn't need help. That morning at work moved like any other. Emails cleared, meetings ended on time. Around noon, the receptionist transferred a call to my supervisor's line. I didn't hear it, but I saw the note afterward. Caller asked for someone who no longer works here. The receptionist told it the same way she'd tell anything else. She asked if we had anyone by that name, the receptionist said later. I checked. We don't. The call came again minutes later, more insistent this time. The same question, asked louder. Is there anyone named Emily Carter working there? The answer didn't change. That person used to work here, the receptionist said. No one goes by that name anymore. A third call followed. The same request, the same response. Procedures didn't bend. An internal email went out shortly after, logged and time-stamped. Legal name change confirmed. Records updated per policy. No action required. The phone on my desk stayed still. No vibrations, no alerts. Later that afternoon, Linda called my personal number. It rang twice before going to voicemail. A second call followed. Then a third. Messages stacked up without being opened. At the end of the day, another email arrived from work, this one automated. If you need further assistance, please contact Human Resources during business hours. The line looked familiar. It was the same language used for parking questions and benefits updates. It closed the loop neatly. Rosa texted once. Heard anything, she wrote? Only silence, I replied. The graduation photos appeared online that evening. My brother stood in his cap and gown, smiling wide. Linda stood beside him, arm hooked through his, looking directly at the camera. The caption thanked family for support. Comments filled in fast. So proud, such a good mom, family first. The phone buzzed again. Another missed call. No voicemail this time. At work the next morning, the receptionist mentioned the calls again, amused. She kept insisting the records were wrong, she said, but the system doesn't argue. She went back to her screen without another thought. During lunch, an email notification popped up from the credit monitoring service. Status updated. No further disputes attached to the old name. The account no longer linked to active records. The new profile stood alone. Linda tried once more that afternoon. The call came through unknown. It rang out. An hour later, a message arrived. You can't erase yourself, she wrote. This won't work. The message stayed unread. By closing time, the internal log updated again. Caller inquiries resolved. No matching employee found. Case closed. The door that had stayed open for years finally shut without noise. Not slammed, not announced, just closed because the hinge was gone. I shut down my computer and packed my bag. The badge went into my pocket. The new name caught the light as it turned. The first sign came from a cousin who hadn't spoken to me in months. A short message, sent late, no greeting. Mom's dealing with creditors now. No explanation followed. None was needed. Bills that used to circle around my name stopped doing that. Notices started landing where they belonged. Linda called an aunt to complain, then another. The story shifted depending on who was listening, but the core problem stayed the same. There was no longer a daughter whose name could smooth things over. My brother felt it next. The help he'd grown used to didn't show up. A payment bounced. Then another. For the first time, he had to speak directly to someone who expected answers. He called once. Can you help? He asked. No, I said. The call ended there. Family gatherings changed shape. Fewer messages. Shorter threads. Someone tried to mediate, suggesting a call to clear the air. I declined without commentary. Silence did the work explanations never had. Contact stayed minimal for one reason only. There were relatives who hadn't crossed lines, people who'd shown up quietly when they could. They got updates when necessary. No details, no access. The boundary held because it was simple. At the apartment, the wall above the desk finally got filled. The diploma came out of its sleeve and into a frame that fit. It hung level, held by 2 small nails. No ceremony, just a decision followed through. The old email account went next. Years of messages sat inside it, unopened and unread. Password changed, auto replies turned off. The account closed after one final confirmation. A new phone number took its place on the contact list. The old one got released back into circulation, free for anyone else to pick up. Notifications stopped arriving from unfamiliar lenders. Unknown numbers rang and went unanswered. Work continued without comment, schedules stayed full, paychecks landed on time. The name on them matched the one on the door. One afternoon, an automated email arrived from the bank. The subject line stood out for how little it tried to say. Your account is now independent. No congratulations, no warning, just a status update. Rosa sent a thumbs up when I forwarded it. Told you, she wrote, the system likes clean lines. That night's shift ran late. Orders stacked up. The manager apologized for the rush, then moved on. Everyone was busy keeping things running. During a break, the phone buzzed. An unfamiliar number, no name attached. The screen lit up and waited. The phone got flipped face down on the table without checking it. Gloves went back on. Work resumed. At the counter, someone asked for help finding a form. Another asked about closing times. The register chimed. Receipts printed. Small problems stayed small. Later, while wiping down the counter, the phone buzzed again. The same number, still unanswered. Linda didn't try after that. On the walk home, keys felt lighter in my pocket. The building door opened easily. Upstairs, the apartment was exactly as it had been left. No surprises, no waiting messages. The diploma caught the light from the lamp. Glass clean, frame steady. It stayed there, unremarkable and solid. At the desk, the laptop opened. A few emails waited, all routine. No emergencies, no explanations requested. The phone stayed face down beside the keyboard. Another vibration came and went without breaking the rhythm. Nothing dramatic marked the end of it. No confrontation, no speech, just fewer interruptions and more space to finish what needed doing. The night carried on the same way nights always do. Work ended when it ended, the door locked behind me, the room settled. The system moved forward, clean and indifferent, and for the first time, my name moved with it, unshared, uncontested, and entirely my own.